All right, guys, I'm back. We got another NBA Slate Breakdown here for you guys. So to quickly recap, we're in a good spot. Yesterday's lineup was the yesterday's game with the Warriors versus Jazz game, and then tonight's game with the Rockets and Spurs. So it's not completely done yet, but we're in a solid spot. Shelvin Mack at 27, Draymond at 55, and Katie at like 35. I don't know, but we're in a good spot. We're over 110 with 3 players, and we got a lot of players tonight left. So for today's game, we got Rockets at Spurs. The over/unders for two is at 215. The other game is Wizards at Celtics. The over/under is also 215. Right into the plays, real quickly, I'm going to say that I'm not going to really uh, talk too in depth about the Rockets and Spurs game because that'd be kind of redundant because I talked about it in yesterday's video. So go check that out if you want a more in depth explanation of the Rockets players. But I'll give a quick overview. Real quick, so like James Harden, he's too expensive at 11,000. I'd rather pay for like John Wall or Isaiah Thomas. I want to see him hit 60 points before I can pay up for him. He's yet to hit 60 in these playoffs or in this series. So I'm not really looking towards James Harden at 11,000. I'd rather pay up for a guy like John Wall, who's one of my favorite players on the slate whenever he plays because the matchup against Isaiah Thomas. He's been excellent this series. He's back at Boston, which is where he had that 40-point breakout game. So I love John Wall. Isaiah Thomas has been kind of inconsistent in these playoffs, but he's back at home, which makes me consider him a little more. I might like him more than James Harden tonight, but Isaiah Thomas is an okay play at 9,000, not a great one. Marcus Smart's an okay play too. My bad. Marcus Smart's an okay play at 5,400. I think he's a very safe play. He can get you at least 20, 25, but I don't think he's going to get you much more than that. Same thing for Patty Mills. I'm okay with Patty Mills at 5,300. I feel he's a lock to get at least 20, 25, but like I said, same thing with Marcus Smart, not much else. Beverly, I think he can get at least 30 tonight. I'm really expecting a big game from Patrick Beverly. He's on the road, which doesn't really kind of throw me off of him much, but because scoring is not the main reason why he gets fantasy points. It's mostly his secondaries. That's like steals and rebounds. I don't think that's going to change because he's on the road. I love Patrick Beverly in this spot. Lou Williams, I expect his ownership to be very low tonight just because he's been very inconsistent, but I love Lou Williams in this spot. I'm pretty sure the last thing I've seen earlier today was that Eric Gordon's going to be starting, which makes Lou Williams the go-to guy coming off the bench. So the offense will run through him. I love Lou Williams tonight at 4,900. His price plus his low ownership is what makes me really like it for tonight. Terry Rozier at 3,600. I like Terry Rozier. He's been very solid this series. He had that one dud against Washington, but that's because they were just absolutely blown out. I think back at home he rebounds. This guy has a lot of secondary stats that he gets, especially in the rebounding category. I think he can get you 20 plus tonight, 3,600. I think it's a great value. Moving on to shooting guards, you guys know how I feel about Brad Beal. Not a Brad Beal guy. When he's not scoring, he's not going to do much for you. Even when in this series, he has yet to hit 40 plus points, and he needs at least 40, in my opinion, to meet value for me. So not going to play Brad Beal. Love Avery Bradley. I think this is another low ownership guy. Avery Bradley is a lot better at home than he is on the road, or at least he's a lot more consistent at home than he is on the road. I think Avery Bradley can get you at least 35 plus tonight. I think he bounces back in a big way at 5,600 and low ownership. I think I like Avery Bradley. Eric Gordon is much safer than Lou Williams because he's gotten 20 plus in every game so far this season in this series. But Lou Williams has a higher ceiling in my opinion. So if you want the safety play, go Eric Gordon. If you want the potential for a big game, like a 35-point game, you want to go Lou Williams. Danny Green, I thought he'd be more of a playmaker with now that Tony Parker's out. That wasn't really the case. He only had 3 rebounds and 3 points. He really didn't do that well. Might have been because of the blowout, but either way, I'm at 4,300. Danny Green is a little too expensive for me. Bojan Bogdanovic, Kelly Oubre is back, and when Kelly Oubre plays and Bogdanovic plays, his ceiling is already capped because of the fact that when he's not scoring, he's not doing much else. But now that Kelly Oubre is back, that ceiling is even lower because they kind of compete for minutes and shots. Kelly Oubre, I like. Just coming off that suspension, I think he plays with a vengeance today at Boston. He's going to get booed. Kelly Oubre is going to get booed. And I think he can show up and get you at least 20 points. I love Jonathan Simmons in this spot. He's been very solid, and he's still very cheap. So for 3,400, I think at least 20 points for Jonathan Simmons, 20 fantasy points for Jonathan Simmons tonight. I think he's quickly emerging as one of the go-to guys off the Spurs bench. And I think Pop's going to look towards him more coming off the bench, to be completely honest. Small forward, Kawhi is the main guy. I think back at home, he gets 55 plus tonight. I love Kawhi in this spot. Nothing else really to say. He's still cheaper than guys like James Harden and John Wall, and I think he could do better than James Harden. Maybe not John Wall, but he will do better than James Harden in my opinion. Otto Porter might be the safest play on the slate. 30. I think I can. He's had 33 or more every game of the series. I'm thinking he gets at least 35 tonight. Otto Porter has been very consistent. He's rebounding the ball. He's just been very solid. I love Otto Porter. Same thing with Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's in the same boat. He's been very consistent. He's only had below 30 one time this series, and that was when he had 28. Look, last game he had 6 points, but he still had 7 rebounds and 4 assists and 4 steals. He'll get you your 30 fantasy points, whether it's through points or rebounding or steals. He'll get you your points. So I love Jay Crowder. Now, Trevor Ariza is a little too inconsistent for me. 3 out of the 4 games he's been solid this season or this series, but that one bad game was at San Antonio, and he only had 2. And of course, I played him that night, so RIP to me. But that might have been due to the fact that it was a blowout. But either way, I'm not a huge Trevor Ariza guy tonight. I'd rather just pay up for Jay Crowder's safety. That's about it for small forward. Moving on to power forwards. I talked about this last video and last time. Aldridge, I feel like his rebounding number is going to be capped because of the fact that Ryan Anderson and Trevor Ariza, who both play power forward for the Rockets, they shoot a lot of threes. So Aldridge is going to be out on the perimeter having to guard them. So he's going to be away from the basket. And if you look, he hasn't had over 10 rebounds in this series yet. In the Memphis series, he had 11, 12, and 9. He hasn't hit 9 either. His highest is 8. So I really feel like Aldridge's ceiling is capped, and for that reason, I'm not going to pay $6,900 for him. Markieff Morris, if you want to take the risk, and risk that he gives you that 35-point game, you can go ahead. But he's really had a lot of foul trouble in the playoffs, and for that reason, his minutes aren't where you would expect them to be. If you look at the Atlanta series, he only topped 30 minutes, twice? Same thing can be said for this Boston series. He's only topped 30 minutes twice, and that's because he's in a lot of foul trouble all the time. And because he got injured one of those games, I believe. But Markieff Morris is a little inconsistent for me. I'm not going to be looking towards him. Ryan Anderson, same thing, inconsistency there. His 2 good games in the series were at San Antonio. I don't think that happens again. I think it's more the fact that Pop adjusted and found a way to neutralize Ryan Anderson rather than the fact that Ryan Anderson feels more comfortable playing on the road rather than he does at home. Kelly Olynyk had 0 rebounds last game, if you look. Look at that, 0 rebounds for a 6'11", 7-footer? Yeah, I'm not going to be playing Kelly Olynyk. Let's see, David Lee gets like 15-plus minutes, doesn't do much with him. And there's really no other guys down here. Moving on to centers. Al Horford had 2 big games at home, 2 bad games on the road. And if you guys don't know this, the Wizards are really good at home. And I think Al Horford coming back home, back in the Garden, I think Al Horford has a solid game. I think Al Horford could have 40-plus points again tonight, and he's very cheap. He's only $7,100. His ownership might be low because I feel like a lot of people are going to be going to playing Clint Capella, which I'll get to in a little bit. But Al Horford's a really nice pivot off of Clint Capella. Marcin Gortat might be another chalk play because of the fact that he's been just really solid in this series against the Celtics. Celtics can't rebound well. Even in a down game against the Celtics last game, he still had 7 rebounds. His rebounding numbers are up this series. I love Marcin Gortat at 6,300. He's very cheap. Pau Gasol is an interesting player. He's had 3 solid games in a row, but I'm not a huge Pau Gasol guy. I don't know why. I can't. There are other safer plays at center, in my opinion. I also feel like the time I do play Pau Gasol, he's going to screw me and get me like 10 fantasy points. But if you want to play Pau Gasol, go ahead. I really have no numbers to play or to take. I don't know, to convince you otherwise. I just don't like him. I think I'd rather just save money to go Capella or spend money and go Horford. Speaking of Capella, you guys know that I always talked about how him and Nene split minutes. That's not the case anymore. Nene is out for the remainder of the playoffs with a pulled groin. He's he's not going to be playing. Clint Capella, I think, plays at least 30, 35 minutes tonight. He's really the only guy left at center for them. I mean, Montrezl Harrell is the other guy who played center, and he's 6'8". So I really feel like Capella is the main guy. 5,500. He's very cheap for the potential that he brings. And when he plays over 30 minutes, he's been very solid. If you look at his game log, you can see that he's played 30 minutes plus twice, and he's had 46 points in both of those games. So I love Capella tonight. That's about it. One punt play center I have is Dwayne Dedmon. I've said this multiple times. I think it's only a matter of time before Pop realizes that this Spurs team is much better defensively with Dwayne Dedmon on the floor rather than Pau Gasol. I think he's going to figure that out, and Dwayne Dedmon's going to get at least 15 minutes tonight. I think tonight is when it actually happens. I've been calling for it all series. I've been saying that they need to play Dedmon over Pau Gasol. I think tonight it actually happens. I hope it actually happens because Dedmon's going to be in a few of my lineups. Montrezl Harrell, like I said, is the backup center at this point. You could look towards him. I personally won't be. I expect some people to say, oh, hey, cheap backup center for 2000. I'm not going to be playing him. I'd rather pay up for Dedmon, to be completely honest. So to quickly recap, we got at point guard, favorite play is John Wall. I like Mills, Beverly, Lou Williams, and Terry Rozier. Shooting guard, my favorite play is going to be Avery Bradley. Then I like Smart. I like Williams. I like Eric Gordon. I love Terry Rozier, and I love Jonathan Simmons. Small forward, I love the top three guys in Kawhi, Otto Porter, and Jay Crowder. Power forward, I don't like Aldridge, but I love Otto Porter and Crowder, like I said. That's about it for power forward. Center, I love Horford. I love Gortat. I don't like Gasol because he's kind of in that middle price where I feel like there's more safety above him and more potential below him. So I'm not a big Pau Gasol guy, and Clint Capella might be the chalkiest, yet the most value play on the slate. I love Clint Capella. So with that being said, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys have any feedback for me, please leave it in the comment section below. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you guys later.